So, first of all, I want to congratulate ASSE and you in particular in establishing the first ever Legionella specialist certification in the US. I'm sure that this couldn't have been easy to pull off. Before we get into, do you have, sorry.
No, keep going.
Before we get into any questions about the ASSE 1280, can you tell us a little bit about ASSE and your role there?
Sure. So ASSE is ASSE International. Formerly, we were American Society of Sanitary Engineering, and we have been around since 1906, which is a long
Wow.
Developing standards for pretty much that entire time. So we are now under the umbrella of a larger organization, IAPMO, but we still operate independently as ASSE. So we have a long history. This is not our first certification. We've been certifying for about 25 years. We've been writing standards for longer than that, but certifying for about 25 years. And we currently certify to about 23 different certifications.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. So when did ASSE first start exploring the idea of establishing certifications for people involved with Legionella and water management?
Yeah, that's a trick question. It's been a long time because things have been out there for a long time, and our membership, which is very involved, has been keeping us abreast of all of the activity in the development of ASHRAE 188. And so probably it was about 8 years ago that it was first brought to our attention that this is going to be very important to the industry, and that there was going to need to be, a need for some additional support for the people that are in the industry. But of course, we developed it immediately. It took a while to get it on board and developed.
Right. We know that despite all of the Legionella studies and data that's out there, there are some issues that experts still disagree on. Was the standard development process easy, or were there some difficult or even heated discussions to reach agreement on the standard requirements?
Well, I'll just first answer and say that never is a standard easily developed. That never happens. We were very fortunate that we have a large subject matter expert group, which we called the working group, that worked on this, and they're very knowledgeable. But really, probably what made this a little more streamlined and easy for us, not easy, but easier for us to get through, is the fact that we had very clear direction coming from ASHRAE 188. So, although yes, there are certainly conflicting ideas on how to remediate Legionella in a water system and things like that, we had to work through it, and we had good direction on what needed to be done in order to work through it.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So ASSE 1280 is an ANSI standard. For those unfamiliar with ANSI, could you explain a little bit about what ANSI is and what it means that ASSE 1280 is an ANSI standard?
Right. No, that's an excellent question, and very important for us. We have devoted ourselves, our board of directors made a decision many, many years ago that all of the standards that we write are going to be under the ANSI process. And so we are an ANSI approved standards developer. And we develop standards under the principles of balance, openness, due process, and consensus, which makes sure that everyone has a voice in the process. It doesn't mean that everyone has to agree. And in the end, it doesn't mean that everyone has to have, approved it. But we do need to make an attempt to resolve any questions that come up or any comments that are there. American National Standards Institute is what ANSI stands for, and many standards in the United States are developed under that process. It's the only standards program within the United States.
Excellent. Just to clarify, do you actually refer to it as the Legionella standard versus 1280, or?
We do both. We go back and forth on it. We don't want to confuse anyone that that we have written a Legionella standard as to like the system standard as ASHRAE 188 is.
Right.
But we do shortcut the fact that it's for Legionella specialists by calling it our Legionella standard. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Good to know. So
Mm-hmm.
the ASSE 1280 document lists several topics that an individual needs to learn and to be tested on in order to receive that certification.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from general facts about Legionnaire's disease to Legionella, other pathogens, building water systems, water management programs, ASHRAE 188.
Mm-hmm.
What type of person or job function is this certification intended?
You know, that's a really good question because there's so many different systems that are out there. This really applies to different kinds of people that work within those systems. So there are huge complexes, campuses that have multiple buildings, and they may have multiple specialists on staff just to be addressing their systems. And so that will be some of the people that are involved. But there's also people that are infection control preventionists that will be involved as well, that have nothing to do with a plumbing system or an HVAC system. There's going to be CEOs that are on some of these because ultimately they're responsible for their building and what happens within it. But then we also have to look at the smaller systems. There's nursing homes, and nursing homes may be very dependent upon either hiring somebody from the outside or having their person, like their plumber, handle
Right.
for them. So it really is a very wide range of people. There's also people who do water treatment who are going to want to take this so that they understand all the consequences involved. So I don't want to say it's limitless. It's certainly not limitless, but certainly for anybody who works in any way where infection control is imperative to keep, for their building, and any building or any system that has a water-based system, and that's every building, is going to have somebody who understands this and can help in the management. We're never implying that a single person knows everything about a building system. That wouldn't be right, and that they know everything about Legionella or Legionnaire's disease. But that's why ASHRAE 188 came up with the concept of having a team. And so the people who would be on this, very wide range of the types of people who could all contribute to that team.
Okay, that's an excellent answer. Thank you so much for that. So kind of diving into the standard itself and the requirements, what are those requirements for a person to become certified?
Right. So, and within the standard, these are written right within the standards. So that does not change that. And there's no flexibility on it. We can't. There is a minimum training of 24 hours. Some people will far exceed the 24 hours. But that's the minimum amount of training that's necessary in order to sit for the exam. The training is done by approved training providers, or you could call them schools, in different parts of the country, or online. The exam will come from ASSE. We're the third-party certifier. So we are a standards developer and a third-party certifier. By third-party certifier means we never do training. We will not train to any of our own standards. But after the training done by an approved school, and HC Info is an approved school, then they will be taking a 100-question written exam. They have to pass with a minimum score of 80%.
Okay.
And they also must recertify every 3 years. So this certificate program, it's a certification program. And that does have requirements for recertification. We can't in any way say that just because a person knew something in 2017 that they're still knowledgeable in 2025. So there is a requirement for recertification.
Okay, excellent. I do have one final question, and that is, does an individual need to have any kind of prerequisite training, like a college degree or Legionella related experience in order to qualify to start the certification, or is it just, completing those 24 hours of approved education and taking the exam?
There is no prerequisite requirement, and there's no degree that is required. Certainly someone who comes in, if they come from within the piping industry, or they come from within the infection control end of things, they may be a little bit ahead, or this might be a little bit easier for them. If somebody came in having had no exposure previously, this is going to be a lot.
Okay, excellent. I can see that.
They can do that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to say about ASSE 1280 standard?
We're really happy with it. We're very proud of the standard. We think that it's meeting a need, and so hopefully that's going to be that there'll be a lot of people who can better meet the needs of the people who are the building owners, who are ultimately responsible. That there are more and more people that are trained and certified to be able to go out and help them with their water management team. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you so much for your time. We're super excited to move forward with you guys to provide this new 1280 certification. So thanks so much, and we look forward to working with you.
Perfect. Thank you.